Why are all the girls in fantasy anime called Elise? Twinkle, 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 twinkle. Yes, don't die. Oh, that hit hard in a different way. Hello, fellow anime geeks. Welcome to another first impression video in fall 2020, where I try every anime series premiere that I can in order to give you guys a bit more information on this ongoing season. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Kami-tachi ni hirowareta otoko, or By the Grace of the Gods on Funi. As usual, I'll be answering these 4 questions to better organize my thoughts. Let's go! The mal tags were adventure, slice of life, and fantasy, but this is very much just another fantasy isekai, and it totally had me fooled, which is what's kind of bothering me about it. It started off really cool. Our protagonist is a kid. There's this interesting internal monologue going on with all these like slimes and production and how the magic works in this world, and there's an allusion to a bigger plot line because there's this chance encounter in the woods, and there's some nice tension built up with these two parties kind of trying to ascertain each other's intentions and whether they're a good person or not. And cut to, it turns out 3 years ago I died, and I'm like, why? You had me at fantasy. Why couldn't this have really just been about a boy in this completely different fantasy world who receives the grace of the gods? I mean, even if you're trying to go down the isekai parody direction, y'all know it's even already too late for that. As far as what this reminds me of, I'm not gonna cop out and say pretty much any other fantasy isekai out there. I'm going to properly select Hachinan, which, you know, I was pretty receptive to 2 seasons ago. I feel like spring we had that weird, unexpected genre plus isekai mashup, and we ended up with something like a reverse harem isekai. By the way, Hamefuda is getting an otome game adaptation. Hachinan is also based on a novel, and it's kind of half political satire, half isekai parody, in that our protagonist spends quite a few years growing up again in this new fantasy world. So we get to really explore the consequences of actually being in a fantasy world, like for an extended amount of time. He has to deal with the politics of this monarchy system. He has to deal with land ownership. He has to deal with arranged marriage. So I kind of think that Hirowareta is going to follow suit. I think that in the beginning we saw a lot of details about, you know, this production process with the slimes and kind of how the magic system works there. So I think that that's where the slice of life tag comes from, in this sort of calm mood and in the exploration of the system, and less because we're not going to have any plot. In this first episode, our protagonist does encounter an adventuring party in the forest, and they seem to have some interactions that are gonna go somewhere, and they also went out of their way to describe our protagonist as someone with great mental fortitude, so I wonder how that character journey is going to play out. This still doesn't feel like a very unique plotline though. The whole idea of the gods of another world taking a strong candidate from Earth to go either fight or help out another world has already been done, and it's been done hilariously so in Shinsho Yusha. But I will say this for Hirowareta, they did a really good job actually explaining to the audience the mechanism by which our protagonist goes to this other world and why. The intro, ending, and art were also pretty standard. In fact, they were on the cutesy side, which isn't really my cup of tea. But even the comedy and the self-awareness didn't really feel all that funny or fresh anymore. I mean, making fun of the fact that anime and manga have this popular trope of isekai reincarnation doesn't change the fact that you still fell into that trope. By the way, that same joke in Shinsho Yusha 1 year ago. So, is Hirowareta worthwhile? Well, without the context of this overdone genre, I'm gonna say that it depends on one question, and it's the same question that I ask every isekai, Pinky. Will it matter that our protagonist is from a different world? For now though, within the context of this really overdone genre, I'm gonna say no, this is not worthwhile. However, it's fantasy, and just like bad adaptations to things that I like, or unnecessary sequels to things that I like, I'm probably gonna end up watching it. And they probably know that. They know that us fantasy geeks are just gonna complain and whine to high heaven, but at the end of the day, we're gonna end up watching that crud. And on that note, I'll catch you in the next video. It's cute. I don't see how it's special. But it's not bad. I guess I'll watch it.